Hello and yay to another episode of Shittywebcomics Weekly. As usual, these episodes are brought to you by our wonderful, wonderful backers on Subscribestar, linked in the description below, where you can get access to the secret videos that we can't post publicly.
Secret videos too spicy for you.
No, not even that, but just we have to make most of them private just because the more videos we would have public, the more easy targets they become for people who want to false flag us and have been for years.
It's
But
like
that's old
false
news too.
flag bait.
False flag it bait. Um,
Flag they're engaging in false flaggatry.
Flaggatry. Also, if you want to suggest a webcomic for us to talk about or ask a question, check out our Curious Cat, which is also linked below. We don't check the Curious Cat too often because we check it when we think we might need some content, but sometimes, like say this week for instance,
I mean,
there's
it's so
fresh new
easy.
content.
It's so easy to just make content out of nothing when you're a genius.
A fucking genius. Yeah, you could like some people, so many other people have to rely on the chat or something. It's like, ugh,
And they still
why are you doing
suck.
that?
They're still boring.
Yeah,
Those people
well,
are still
people who have
fucking
to rely
boring.
on their chat to stream are boring. People who actually have some, and I've noticed some people don't even have a lot of followers, but they can just sit there, talk about a subject for 10, 15, 20 minutes, and, have a take on it. And some people really rely on the chat.
You know
Usually
who's
that's your influencer types.
another great example of somebody else who doesn't need the chat to just be able to go off and make a really interesting show is this guy named Sam Hyde.
Sam Hyde. Yeah, that's true. Sam Hyde can just think of a topic, talk about it, or really like he'll cover goofy things like he has that Kickstarter TV that just looks at crowdfunding campaigns that are ridiculous and
Yeah, sometimes he'll look at like a news story or something, but he can just riff and go off for like 20 minutes.
riff, my friend,
Just him
riff.
him and one other guy, and it's
Yep.
just and he'll tell stories about his life, and it's like, oh, this is great. It's great material.
Him
It's
and Nick
great work.
Rochefort are really a great team up when they just sitting together and talking about like bizarre, usually about like selling cars and stuff like that. But anyways, um, what
This
happened
this
is
on this subject is nothing like that. Is nowhere
yes,
near that
exactly.
level.
What I just saw is somebody linked. In fact, I think it was Alex who linked to the a new Twitter account called Risk Hunters, and I recognized, of course, the main character. So there's a lot to unpack just from this first picture here, like the
There's
promotional cover here.
a very full invisible knapsack. I do want to maybe even it's a very jam-packed. It's very bloated, almost like a Swedish gay weeaboo's ass
And stomach
filled with a dragon dildo
and
because he's
dragon,
so gay.
actual dragon come. It's so gay it made dragons exist and come in his ass, but also it's like his stomach doesn't. It's not like even a human beings anymore.
He gave himself hemorrhoids and then an ear infection.
But we're not here to make fun of Tank, but we are going to do that anyways.
We're not here for that, but we'll do that.
We'll
I
keep
hope
doing
we
it.
talk about this fucking preview image because it is fucking atrocious.
Well, here's the thing: is that if it okay, we have a history with Tank where he was one of our biggest super fans going way back to like 2012 or 2013. I think it was
I
like
think we mentioned
2012.
this in a few videos ago where he was in love with our blog. He wanted to be made mpreg with our blog.
Yes, he wanted to become pregnant through his ass by not by us even, but by our blog. It's quite incredible. But
And like a woman, he is now like very huffy and
yes,
sissified.
also like a mountain bike. He's very huffy. But the thing is that well, we're not even here to get into the whole backstory of that. What the thing is that he had a web comic called Risk Hunter K back then. That was
As
around
I know, that was
2014,
his first.
2015.
I think it was his first webcomic. It was like his first attempt to make a fully fledged
Yeah,
webcomic.
and it was just basically it was like Monster Hunter original fucking, but it's not Monster Hunter. It's fucking Risk Hunter original universe. Do not steal.
Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, and it was about he would spend a lot of time not working on the comic really, but he would be designing monsters, and it's like, here's a monster, and then a character, and like he would go through the characters, and like
It's
this one's
very
of this
typical.
race, and this one's this class,
It's
and
very typical of an artist. They have no real capability of creating a story,
well,
but
yeah,
they've
there
got like a
it
bunch
was
of ideas.
90% world building, and then the other 10% was character design, and then 0% writing. And he
0% actual talent.
Yeah, and he did like he had I liked the character, the first character, this big titted Japanese chick, Demya.
with
I remember her
brown
vividly.
skin, with brown skin and white passing
White
features.
passing features,
For
very
some
nice.
reason, also has 5 noses.
His five brown noses. That's a reference to Shitty Webcomics going way, way back to the old blog. But the original concept is it, and again, is not a really not much of a sense of starting off in the original comic, but it was Demia is like, oh, she's from the islands and she's going to this place where she can learn to be a risk hunter, which is really just Monster Hunter from the game series Monster Hunter. But
Which is a great example of how uncreative it is.
yes,
You're ripping off something that wasn't that good to begin with.
yeah, you called it Waypoint Follower or Waypoint Hunter.
Yeah, a Monster Finder,
Yeah,
because that's essentially Monster Finder Galaxy.
yeah, you
That's what
just
the
go
new
from
game
room to
should be
room, and
called.
it's like, is there a monster in this room? Nope. Go to the
Actually,
next room.
you also you're leaving out one of the biggest elements of the game, which is loading the
Yeah,
fucking
loading
maps.
screen. It really should have been called Loading Screen Hunter. It's one of the most boring and simplistic games ever.
Loading screen hunter.
Yeah. Um,
And the hunt just involves walking from place to place.
yeah.
And so it should have been called Loading Screen Hunter Galaxy or Your Mr. Gay.
Yes. You are. Tank is Mr. The game should have been called Tank is Mr. Gay. But the
Because
original
Mrs.
comic
Gay.
was
He's so
called.
gay, he's downright a lesbian at this
Yeah,
point.
yes. The original comic was called Risk Hunter K because it was about this character, a sort of androgynous warrior woman named K. She has like horns or half,
Again,
and
it's
you can see her
basically like
silhouette on the screen here.
it's a clothing and a hairstyle, and in this case also like a weapon.
Yeah, almost.
Like a signature weapon.
It's that more than an actual personality. There was an element of some personality to both of that, like to Kay and Demya, who were supposed to be the original team up. But what happened was just today we got linked to a tweet from a Risk Hunters account on Twitter, linking to a Risk Hunters account on Pixiv, saying the comic will be going up here. It's launching today, and so I had to check it out. Of course, I think we were duty bound in a way to check it out.
Booty. Fucking Tank is so gay, he's going to transition to male.
But so the one of the funny things though about this is it took him 5 years to rebrand, and that rebranding involved dumping the letter K from the title. Now it's just called Risk Hunters. I guess it dumped a K and added a fucking S at the end. Um,
Wow, amazing. And
but
then
it,
add your fucking character with sausage link fingers and pan face.
fucking
Noseless animu pan face.
at fucking this noseless animal crap. But
And
a
just
vaguely Japanese titty monster also was
a
the other
giant
description.
fucking mono boob. Huge
But
mono boob.
which is okay. That's cool. Um,
Personally, I disapprove.
the thing is, I remember him like he did some of the comic. I think he did 15 pages, and there was also sort of a mocking joke being like, "Oh, Kill Everything is going to have more pages," which that's a whole other story. I'm not going to even get into that, but Kill Everything ultimately did have more pages, and I think that very much depressed Tank, which in that case,
We
haha.
sent him into a spiral, a downward spiral.
But then again, so did a lot of things. But that whole time, he was always like coming up with a new character and then another new character and just
I
piling
mean,
on
again,
new
it's
characters. And
it's
it's like they
typical.
belong to this race. And then sometimes he would come up with a monster design that was usually
It's very
lizard based.
typical of an artist. It's just like, here's a hairstyle and an outfit. I've made a new character. So what? What about them? They're from this island. Okay, what island? What does that matter?
Yeah, what are they like? What is this character like? What are their goals and dreams? Well, their blood type is Q. It's like, okay, fucking
Their blood type is where we go one, we go
yeah,
all. It's like
QAnon. They have the
fucking.
rare QAnon blood type, which gives them the power to have all the powers that they want.
Oh, I had no idea that Tank was a racist.
um, which reminds me of the
But
time when
yeah,
he's
it's
like,
just
when he called himself, he said, "I used to be really anti SJW," and it's like, you were never anything. You're a fucking weeb.
you're
You
from
fucking weeb
Sweden.
piece of shit.
You're fucking from Sweden and you like anime. You're nothing.
But anyways, I
So
saw the tweet
anyway,
about this, and I was like, you
well, I
know
mean, to
what?
me, it's important to mention that this is the problem with artists. This is why artists should be put into big camps. I don't like putting people in camps,
Put,
but artists
put
should be put
artists
in
into a fragrance enclosure.
a fragrance, pine oil fragrance.
Pine oil heaven. That's where you're going, weeb. But the
It's typical of them where it's just like, you know, they're coming up with a character. A writer will come up with a character that has a personality. An
mhm,
artist comes up with a character that has a hairstyle and clothing.
yeah, a design. And the thing is, yeah, combining the two can be rare. And I'll give here's the thing. I'll give him credit sometimes about how like Demia was appealing. She was the plucky young person who was obviously an anime stereotype of the neophyte hunter who wants to learn, and she's gonna fuck some shit up and do it wrong at first, and then she will learn to do it better. And it's like, oh boy. And I remember I drew like a goofy ass little comic like 5 or 6 years ago, just making fun of that, and but also summing it up in I think 3 panels, or
Yeah, or
it was
like
four,
two or one panel.
and it was literally like entire chapters worth of sum up where it was one panel's like, okay, you want to prove yourself, fight this cloven hoof animal, and then just Demio with her claw arms is like, oh no, I am fighting it, but it is difficult, and I'm doing it wrong and causing problems, and so, oh no, what are you doing? And then just next panel is like later, and it's like the exact same thing, and she's like, oh, I'm doing better, and now I've defeated the monster. And then Kay just hands a box that says validation, a square that says validation on it, and it's like, pff, I guess you
You
did
just
okay, have this.
sh
Yeah, and
pshaw.
that sums up
You
the
just summed up
characters,
60
but
That's 60 pages of fucking development. And spoiler alert for the review, but in 60 pages, that probably doesn't even happen.
well, that's the other thing. We haven't even gotten past the most important thing about this cover is that Demya and Kay, shown on the cover here, do not show up for a single page of this comic, of which they are apparently main characters, but I don't think they are
I didn't even
anymore.
read that far. I only read to like page I think 36, and by page 20 I was just zipping through. I wasn't even reading it anymore
Yeah,
because there's no reason. The dialogue serves no purpose.
this is the biggest problem with this actual comic is that it's the same problem that was with Tomahawk Angel, is that everything in this could have been summed, like every 3 pages could have been condensed to 1 page easily
Or
without
one
losing
panel.
anything.
A lot of it would have been just one panel.
And
It's a
again,
very typical weeaboo problem
the
that
art.
which we'll be getting into. It turns into like slice of life shit, and it's like
Well,
what?
yeah, that's the other thing. All of that could have been cut, but here's the thing: the art's solid, and of course, Tank likes drawing monsters and creatures and stuff,
I mean,
which is
honestly, this
nice.
cover I don't like it. I already don't like it. It's like okay, she doesn't have hands, and why the fuck are her eyes doing this? Why are her eyeballs going all the way back to her ears?
Yeah, I
What
don't
the
know.
fuck is going on with her
It's
face?
part
What's
of
wrong with
Tank's
her
goofy ass,
face?
more than vaguely weapony style. But
The
this,
fucking it's yeah, it's even actual fucking Japanese people would be like, this is too anime. This is shit.
yes,
This is ugly.
why are you making this shit so anime? What's wrong with you? That's what they should
Even
say.
even the
Uh,
Japanese would be
but here's
saying
the thing:
that.
I don't really have a problem with the art. The art's fine. The only problem with
Coloring,
the art in a comic book is if it can't tell the story competently, which it does still
or if
here.
there is no story to tell and it's
Yeah,
nothing but a
that's the biggest
sequence of
problem
art.
with a comic. But again, it starts with like, there's some wolf-like monsters and
This
this.
actually, I have to say that this really so doesn't make sense. This is the start of the comic right now. It's like, it's just ch and a forest. And it's like, can you just do something else with that? Can you not make ch sounds? If you want to fucking imply some fucking kind of motion in the forest, this is a
Or
bad way to
whatever.
start.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it
I
is
don't like
entirely.
this. I don't like this already.
But here,
But then it's
the beginning of this, the first 5 pages, the first 10 pages really, are to sum up that this chick here, Kat Kara, who is a new character I'm not familiar with, I haven't seen. It's fucking
OCDNS. Oh yeah, and she's got insect antenna. She's just straight up like part insect person or something.
maybe, I don't know, but she's
I
fighting
assume
these
it's
monsters.
I assume it's female because she has long hair and huge giant
Yeah. I
fucking
mean,
knockers.
the thing is, I think they're supposed to just be two fucking hair antenna instead of her being an actual insect. I think it's
No,
just hair
I don't
antenna.
believe that because that would be even dumber.
Yeah, well, I got bad news for you.
Oh
Um,
no. Well, I gotta point out this thing though. It's like what is this, page 5, I think? It's like unconquered lands, vast bounties of nature, and then just like a black blur with some more black blurs, and then some other black blurs, and then the next panel is a fucking just another black blur, but it's like stabbing down into cotton, and then some wolves. And it's like, what is even going on? And then all of a sudden, the fucking next panel is two wolves get fucking impaled.
two
And
wolves are
then
inside you, and they get impaled.
it really doesn't make sense when I read it. Is here the next page is wolf growling, and then fucking thump, somebody landing, the female character landing, and then axe hitting the wolf in the head, and then like the same, it looks like the same wolf is just jumping
Yeah, in
into
a
the
way,
air.
that's an
It's like,
example
what
of
the
when you
fuck?
should break the 180 rule because you're showing one wolf that's definitely dead, the other should be jumping from another direction. And the thing is she stabbing that second wolf then, or is she still stabbing that? Well, you know what?
It's
Actually, I
so
forgot. One thing that's actually way more important. It points out right here in page 3 that the comic's supposed to be read right to left, but the way the comic is kind of
well,
formatted
I didn't see
really
that.
lends itself to reading left to right.
I didn't even see that, but I was just about to fucking imply this makes so little sense. You would think it needs to be read backwards. It needs to be read back to front, like it's some kind of
Yeah,
fucking
there's
dyslexic
something
piece of
about
shit.
the page layout and the panel layout and the panel construction and all that shit that makes it really look like it was obviously drawn to be read left to right, but you're supposed to read it right to left. And the thing is, there's not really any, there's not much establishment. Like when I look at this panel, it says Risk Hunters and then C rank Risk Hunter Katkara. It's on the right, implying that your eyes are going to go to it last, which
Yeah,
means this
left to
comic
right.
really
Yeah.
should have just been drawn left to right.
I mean, the key thing that we got to point out again is this was written by a fucking guy, a child in Sweden. You're not a fucking
A dumb gay
mangaka.
child.
You're not fucking Japanese.
Yeah, that
So just write it normal.
Yeah,
Just
if you're
draw it
unless you're
normal.
actually Japanese and naturally read right to left, don't make your comic this way. Like I think even if you're going to fucking Like, especially if you're not writing it in the Japanese language in Japan for Japanese people for a Japanese magazine. The only thing he's doing is writing this
That's
on a Japanese website.
another big key thing about that is just the fucking art style. To me, I really don't like this. I don't really have a problem with the normal fucking mango art style, but this is like a cheap imitation by a fangirl. That's what this appears to be. This is no character has any noses. Everything is a noseless monstrosity.
They're terminally noseless.
Permanently, permanently noseless. How do they breathe?
Do they
They
breathe through their
can't breathe.
mouths? I don't know. Tiny
They can't
mouths.
breathe.
Again, I have no problem with the art, really. Not even the style, not even the
I would
dumbest
have
parts
no
of the
problem with it.
style.
I'd be able to forgive it if this was like a really great story,
Mm.
if it was really engaging right off the bat and
Really
was really
atmospheric, or
leading
yeah,
somewhere.
if there's some good elements. Yeah, here's the thing: it
It does have
introduces
good
these two
atmosphere.
fucking girls who are
That's probably
risk
the only
hunters.
thing. That's the only thing I would actually really praise it for is like it does some decent detail here and there, and the atmosphere. It's clearly trying to capture the atmosphere of the stupid ass fucking
The game, yeah,
monstrosity, the Waypoint fucking follower game,
yes,
Waypoint monster follower, Galaxy,
yeah.
your Mr. Gay game,
Risk Hunter, original
Risk Hunter,
universe. Do not steal.
Risk Hunter Gay.
But yeah, it introduces these new characters that I'm not familiar with. Katakara, and then I
Guess
think her
what? Guess
sister.
what? You're not going to care either.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is it introduces them. And it's like, okay, what are some things about these characters? And you don't
First
learn.
thing you need to know,
After all 60 pages, you don't learn anything about their personality.
except for their C rank. These are C rank risk hunters,
Yeah,
by the way.
it's kind of
Okay,
one
what
of
does that
those
matter?
anime things too. It's that fucking total anime thing where it's like they're a C rank and their blood type is 3R or something. It's like that means they have the power to have all the powers they want, and then
That
also
means
they
they
can
have the
teleport.
special. That means they have the special bloodline power
Yeah.
that gives them the ability to increase their strength by 7.1285.
Holy shit, that's sort of a medium amount, but
But they're only allowed to do it for 67 seconds.
yeah, that yeah,
Or
and
if they try really hard, they can push that time limit up to 88
yeah,
seconds.
the whole thing is that sort of weird, uncomfortable, goofy, stupid, lazy writing trope of their blood type makes them superior to the NPC
Yeah,
fucking
it's kind of repugnant. It's a repugnant concept, but it's something that Japan kind of pushes a lot, where it's like your blood type will determine your fucking future,
well, it's
and
also like the big crowd of people, and then you see like all of them have brown hair, and then you see the one with the pink hair, and it's like, oh, is that looks like the main character is identified right
the
there.
pinku hair with weird fucking accoutrements. She's got the double ahogi and
Yeah,
her
yeah,
fucking hair
and
bow, and
and
they're
it's
both
not that
blonde.
they it's not just that they have a different blood type, but specifically that the blood type they have makes them superior to other people. Not even different, not that they have a different skill or a different
Racially
interest.
more, they're more racially pure.
Yes. Which, if you're going to do that, just say that they have like superior genetics. Or just
Just say
fucking
they're
call your
Aryan.
comic fucking Manifest Destiny Hunter, and fucking have your comic be about characters who have better genetics than everyone
And
else.
all the enemies are called referred to as Injuns.
Yeah, and fucking go full eugenics with it, where your main character is Khan Noonien Soon or something
She's a
like that.
C rank. Let me guess. She's a C rank risk hunter, but we're going to find out over the course of the story that she was incorrectly
Yeah,
fucking ranked as
she
C
was
rank, and
actually an S rank, a
she's
double
actually
S rank the whole time. That's really what it should be is double S rank. Of course, is
she's
the
a
best.
triple S rank, and it's like, oh, that's also her cup
Well,
size.
it's not a double or triple S rank. It's specifically SS rank, which is the best rank, the highest, for the
It's
most
so SS,
superior
but it's
genetics.
actually even more SS. It's not just SS rank. The fucking S's look like lightning bolts because it's so much more S rank than a
Because it's
regular
powerful.
S.
It's like the power of lightning is imbued into their rank. So it's like two lightning bolt S's. I think, wow, that's a really
Frequently,
cool design idea. I should put that into mine.
frequently,
I'm
and
gonna make a new webcomic where I do that.
their weapon class is known as the Blitzer.
Oh, that sounds cool. That implies that it's powerful but also fast, which is also quite
Full,
nice.
and they also are sometimes known by the animals they hunt. They hunt a lot of wolves.
They also
Wolves.
hunt some just some inferior. The C rank, of course, will be hunting other inferior animals, but the SS ranks
Sometimes
also hunt
rats.
inferior animals.
They'll hunt rats or even cattle,
Yeah, yeah, rats and cattle are, but those can be dangerous too, of course.
and they make sure to use the Yiddish word for cattle to describe the cattle that
Oh,
they hunt.
is there a
Oh,
specific word for that?
specifically
Is it Yiddish or Hebrew? I don't fucking know.
Hebrew, whatever.
Same diff.
Is
It's the
that
sa-
an
it's all the same to me.
is that an Evangelion
Oh, I
reference?
think so. Oh, that's a classic anime. Anyways,
Classic animush for faggotry.
yeah, the
So anyway,
the thing is continuing with girl. She hunted the things. She's
I just
bringing
wanted
them
to point
back.
out where they're fucking. It's like, oh, there's a big crowd. This goes on for like another two full pages for them to notice there is a crowd, and they're pointing at an animal that it's called for an extermination order. Took 2 pages to get to that, but
Yeah,
these people were, I guess, part of the military. They have extremely long hair, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't these people have short hair if they're in the military? And then I realized, oh yeah, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between any of these characters except by their hairstyle.
yeah, exactly.
Because
Um,
that's so typical of fucking animu fur faggotry.
Yeah. So these characters are introduced, and it's like Lissa and fucking this person and Tobias, and he's an A rank, and so
I really needed to know what rank they are. I'm so glad I know what rank they are.
if that's what really fills in for personality. But again, the interactions that they have, it's like, oh, there's a call for an extermination of monsters, and these two, I guess, are siblings, maybe I don't know, but
How
they're
much did you just skip over? Let's see, page 11, 10,
well, here,
fucking
yeah, a 10, 11, and so far all that's happening is, oh, we're going on a hunt. Well, there's a hunt.
all
Oh,
that has
hello, how are
happened.
you?
All that has
Hey,
happened is that she has killed some wolves, and they found out that they're going to go and hunt
yeah.
some lizard monsters. And I just also realized, pointing my mouse cursor down on Pixiv, there's a happy face like button, then there's a heart button. What the fuck? Oh, is there two? There's two
No,
like
it's
buttons.
the heart button is actually the to favorite it, so it's bookmarked. It's the
Oh,
bookmark
great.
button. The like button is just a fucking upvote
It
personal
should be a
approval.
star then.
Yeah, I know. Well, whatever. It's how Pixiv does it.
Nice sight. Fucking you fucking Japanese.
Japanese
You
mother.
you
They're actually
motherfucker.
Japanese. But yeah, here again, we're like 13 pages in, and so far it's like, oh, I hope nothing goes wrong. Well, we will be careful. Okay, everyone, let's continue to be careful. And then,
There's
um,
foreshadowing, and then there's just kind of like sticking your middle finger up in the face of the
yeah,
audience.
yeah, it's a stark difference. Instead of foreshadowing or character development or learning something about the characters, they're just kind of chattering between each other for pages and pages and pages here,
Yeah,
and
it goes
then
on, and they don't say anything. They're not
yeah.
saying anything.
And you can read it for yourself. And that's the thing. I wanted to read it and be like, I retweeted the tweet and I was like, you know what? Let's give Tank a chance. We'll check out his new comic and we'll talk about it.
We'll
Then I
give him
read
a
through the whole
chance.
thing and it's like, this is pretty much like Tomahawk Angel. He didn't really learn much about writing. And this doesn't even really establish the setting or the universe that much. It just establishes that there are monsters, and then here's some people who attack them, and it's told over this very long, stretched out thing that all this extra space could have been taken up by some character dynamic or learning what the character's history is or what they're about or what they do or what they
Or at
care
least
about or what they
forwarding the story.
like.
A lot of this stuff just needed to be skipped or cut.
Yeah, that's the thing is that if you're not, you can do this where it's like, okay, we want to get into some action in the intro, so let's we're going to go light on the characters. So it's like here's these characters, they're low ranking, and then they sort of team up on a big hunt And page 15 does at least get into some of the detail, like, oh, there's going to be a bunch of monsters in this cave and then a boss monster over here that the A rank and team will fucking manage.
I
And
did have
then,
to say I was a little confused looking at this page or this one panel where it's like, oh, they're leading into, I think, a cave system, but it looks like a forest in the background, and this is a tree in the foreground, so it's like, okay, it's not caves. And then sure enough, they end up in caves. And it's like, okay, wait, I wasn't sure
yeah.
by actually looking at the
Hmm.
art where they were, and it seems like that's something you should be covering.
Yeah, I got a weird impression that there was some fucking. Yeah, right here is you can see what looks like fucking giant stalactite things. It looks like they're in a cave here with a light shining through from outside, or they're going outside from a cave or something. That's kind of what this looks like. No matter which direction you read it in, I thought they were in a cave here, but turns out the tops here are these fucking trees, I
Just
guess.
trees growing out of the tops of the cave mouth. I was
But
like, huh?
no, it's I don't think it's that. Again, there's fucking this is I think supposed to be the cave when they show the monsters like
Also,
D-rank terrestrial,
how many
azerial.
other fucking characters here are female? It's like 90% female warriors.
Yeah, which is like, so it's because it's like, oh, I want to draw a cute girl fucking with
I think
titties
I
and
was also
stuff.
going to point out the fucking one of the earlier ones where she's like hefting up three entire wolf carcasses on like a
Yeah.
spear or some kind of pike, and it's like she's got such skinny arms. How is she lifting them like that without hurting herself
And I
or
know Tank
otherwise?
is no stranger.
How
Yeah,
do you explain that?
Tank is no stranger to drawing like fucking really muscular broads, and it's like you should open with that because there's a lot of people who would be interested in seeing a webcomic or any comic that has a character like that, and make her a standout. Make her some kind of fucking. You know what I would do? Make her female orc, and then she's really buff, but then also perhaps a bit cute. I don't know. And
And
again,
then she puts on her armor and it's like,
yeah.
ah, okay.
Whoa.
Because otherwise it just looks like a bunch of twinks and fucking like a bunch of e-girls cosplaying.
And again, I have seen Tank do a lot of different styles of character and stuff at times, but yeah,
He's drawn a
there's not a
bunch of
lot of
different he's
variety here.
actually done a bunch of different kinds of art styles. In fact, the art style is kind of here and there. It's kind of
Hmm.
a little bit all over the place in this comic by itself.
Hmm.
But a lot of his other art is just like it's one of the few benefits I will give him is that he is clearly experimenting with different art styles, or
There
at
is
least
still a
he was.
consistent style in general for a lot of this, but
Yeah,
yeah,
in
it's
this there is.
yeah, for this and for some of his art in general, but he's sort of settled into a very generalized Animu style. His monster design, it's kind of neat and interesting here, where it's like, oh, giant gator monsters. And like, okay,
I guess.
but again,
I
it's like,
suppose.
okay, this group is gonna fight these guys, and then and the compositions are kind of generic here. Um,
Panels are kind of small. I mean,
Well,
there's not a
yeah,
lot of
fucking
detail
you can zoom
in
them
the
in a bit
fucking
more, and I'm
environment.
not right now. Here, fucking, I
I can't.
zoomed in.
It doesn't let me at all
If
because
you
I don't
click
have
on
an
the
account.
image, it should show you a bigger
It's
one.
saying display work at its original size. Access this function by creating a Pixiv account. Create
Okay, yeah, if
account.
you don't
Log
have an
in.
account, then I guess you got to do that.
And I'm not going to. But on top of that, the environments are extremely under detailed because a lot of the detail goes into drawing the characters.
Well, and there are a lot of characters and a lot of stuff on, and he probably didn't want to bog himself down because, as it turns out, um, well, we'll get to that at the end, and this is taking longer than I thought, but um, again, there's monsters they fight, and then they're
I mean,
fighting
he's
some
been
more
drawing
monsters,
since
and then here's some more monster fighting. And it's like,
he's been
oh,
drawing for a really long time, and if this is the thing he wants to, I mean, if this is the thing he really wants to use to promote his work, he should be putting a lot more effort. He should be putting the maximum amount of effort into both the characters and the backgrounds, or else find some way to reduce the workload.
well, here's the thing: is that even if he doesn't do that, it would have been nice for this to just happen over less panels and pages and shit
Well, that's
because
definitely a big problem. Okay, I'm on page 20 now. Basically, we've had three actual pages of anything
yeah,
happen.
well, I'm on here, page 24, and it's like, oh, monsters
Oh, I'm
attacked,
way
and then oh
behind.
no, and so we go back to our, I guess, our main characters who aren't really main characters as far as I
The
know.
monsters set off grenades or something, and it's like, oh no, I have failed you. I can't activate Eterniantis without injuring the others. And it's like, oh, I was wondering why isn't this character activating their fucking whatever,
Their
their
Hollow
bloodline
Bankai
technique?
fucking master power.
Oh, fucking hello, Bankai. Fucking shit. I was wondering why, and now I know why, and I still don't care.
So yeah, I guess these three characters get isolated, and there's like, oh, we have to light this lantern, and then giant monster fucking spears cute lolly girl through the back so hard that it slams her into this other girl, and they go flying.
Slams her uterus, her unusable uterus,
Well,
is just fucking
not only
thrown
that, but like
across the
through her
room.
spine, her fucking cranial nerves are
She's
severed
dead.
from her brainstem.
She's dead.
Her
She's
fucking
dead.
aorta, superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, all completely ripped through, meaning that her
Violently
heart's just going to
carved.
be spraying out into the open air. And then it turns out after that that she's actually still alive because, oh no, the other girls get in trouble, but the girl who just got completely run through, like, body slams the fucking monster, just explodes out of nowhere with a fucking surprise attack, and it's like, you shouldn't even be able to move your arms or legs. Your spine is gone now.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. What was it? Born on the 4th of July. He gets fucking shot in the upper shoulder. The bullets, or at least one of the bullets, fucking strikes his spinal column at like mid torso.
Yeah.
So he has use of his arms and basically nothing else.
Yeah, because it goes
His
through
arms and
the
his
severs the
head.
cranial nerves. And it's like, oh, the cranial nerve is gone. You can't use your legs anymore at the end. Um, but that's the thing in these anime settings and usually in weeby stuff like this, um, like you can just have Tank would always draw this kind of stuff where girl characters would have giant scars through their entire abdomen and across their entire necks and shit, and it's like,
I guess she fucking yeah. She took 70 points of health damage.
yeah,
She's down to
exactly.
30 HP.
It's clearly working on some kind of fictional thing, but then it doesn't make sense. It's like, okay, she
So,
shouldn't be
yeah,
alive unless the rules of the universe don't function. And if they don't function in that way, you have to establish how they fucking function. Because then it doesn't make any sense.
see, that's
Nothing
actually
makes
also
sense
the
in your
thing in
in your
like
story
Shield
anymore.
Hero. A lot of the isekais and shit like that, where it's like, okay, here, like Shield Hero, he just brings up a stats screen. It's like, here you can look at your stats.
Yeah,
And it's like,
here's my
okay, yeah, it's like a
HP.
video game. I
Yeah.
get that. I can understand that perfectly from the way they show it without having to be like, life is kind of like a video game, and and it's like, okay, yeah, I get it. But here, none of that is even brought up.
If you're going to do this, you either have to explain how somebody can live without their spine and their fucking major blood vessels going directly into and out of the heart, or you have to establish something like she popped a potion that
Yeah, healing
literally
magic.
closed her wounds up or something.
Yeah, some kind of healing magic.
Yeah, like
Something.
popped a really quick healing spell to prevent herself from
She
dying that
drives a
closed up
spear
the
through.
most serious
I
wounds.
think she drives a spear through the monster's arm or tail. I can't
Yeah, it
tell.
looks kind of like the tail, but
And then all of a sudden, is in the next panel, is she's running around with another spear out of nowhere. Oh wait, I forgot. I'm
you're
reading this
reading it
correctly.
again.
I'm reading this
That's the other
forward to
thing.
back.
The way he's composing the pages, the panel layout, this looks exactly right here. It looks exactly like it's meant to be read left to right from here. The way that the two panels on the right sort of has the separation that goes down diagonally. That is a left to right panel layout. That's a fucking left to right panel construction right
He's
there.
such a weeaboo. Why doesn't he know that?
Yeah,
Why do we
he
know
doesn't
better than
really know
him?
what he's doing. He's just making
It's
a
like
bunch of
we know
drawings.
better than him, but he's been drawing all these years since he was a fan of ours. That's going back to
That's
like
the
what,
thing. That's what he's been
2013?
learning. That's what he's been learning is how to draw weeby shit and how to enjoy sword art online unironically But then when it came to the actual composition of panel layouts, Tank would fucking learn a great deal of lessons from watching our video, which I have a feeling he won't be able to without fucking jumping through piano wire and fucking cutting himself like a teenage girl or something.
He's going to behead himself with a dragon dildo.
Yeah, and the thing is, for a lot of this, it's
What a
too
bag.
late. It's way too late.
It's one of the things that people don't realize, and this is something I actually didn't realize until we started covering it. But there's a difference between drawing a picture and drawing comic art.
Yeah,
Being able to sequence comic
the
art
way that
is different skill.
Will Eisner referred to it as sequential art, and it's like that almost sounds like the most pretentious way of saying comic, but
Or
at
really
the same
dry
time,
sciencey. But that's what it is.
and the thing is, she must be throwing a spear into the arm because, like, his legs, you can see that she's great.
Yeah,
So at
there's a
least
bend.
there's some context to establish what this is, but it just doesn't look like an arm.
It's hard to see, and again, it's not like he had to carefully manage a camera to make it this shot to make it look good. You can draw it however you want.
Yeah.
So why isn't he drawing it correctly?
But I mean, that doesn't even bother me as much. That's not good, but that doesn't bother me as much as the fact that a chick with basically no spine anymore and no connection from her heart to the rest of her blood vessels somehow was able to do this fucking running spear attack. It's just
There's
like,
also
what?
other cute warrior girl is getting squished. She's getting all of her bones broken inside of the clutches, the fist of this giant lizard monster.
I'll give it
Lizard
there's some good
human.
Riona at least.
Yes, I enjoy seeing them suffer,
Yeah,
but at
that's
the
good.
same time, they aren't suffering enough if they're able to fucking get speared through the back with a giant monster claw and then just walk it off.
Hmm. Or run it off, even if they're
Even
even
yeah, the
capable
fuck
of running.
sprinting it off. What the fuck?
Like
That is so
the
stupid.
exertion from that, it's like, okay, she's dead then, and it turns out no, she's still alive afterwards. It's like, oh,
She's like very not dead.
yeah. Um,
So we're gonna even cover what the flash cut maneuver,
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, is this one of those things where you have to say the thing that you're doing, which is something that needs to stop? It's
and
something that
again,
people need to put a stop to
the
because
way
it's so
that this is like
retarded
a
looking.
two-page splash, and the way it is compositioned, the way it's composed, is to be read left to right. It's very left
It's
to
in
right
fact,
looking.
yeah, it's even red here, left to right, flash cut, and then maneuver. Not unless it's maneuver flash cut or maneuver cut flash, because you're apparently not supposed to be reading this top to bottom either.
Yeah, I don't.
Probably supposed to start at the bottom and scroll up.
It's not really even that incoherent necessarily. It's just that
It's annoying.
clearly it was made by somebody who reads left to right instinctively. And it's like, if you do that, don't try to act like you're going to be a mangaka. That's what fucking Liam Gray wanted to do. And it
Which
was
is
stupid
it's
when
very
he did it.
it's very cringe, but
Yeah.
it's straight up retarded. You're retarded if you do this. You don't know what you're doing.
Yeah,
If you do it like this, you don't know what you're
you
doing.
like anime more than you even want to make comics or know what the fuck you're doing. When you're just somebody who likes anime
And that
so
comes
fucking
across
much,
here.
you're clueless about how it works.
Even if you excuse these very novice art mistakes, they're very low rent. He's a complete novice when it comes to
Yeah,
drawing
these
there.
amateur
You get through
fucking
that, yeah, total amateur. It's 31 pages in at this point. Nothing has happened except that they have gone to go and chop up some lizard
they
thing
fought some
people.
monsters. And again, we didn't learn it. Like 30 pages in, we should at least know something about one of these characters that makes us like them. But we don't know anything about these characters at all. We don't know what their aspirations are. We don't know what it is they want to
We don't
do,
know.
what they
We
like
have no
doing.
idea why they want to hunt monsters. Is there a
Yeah.
reason why they want to hunt monsters? We don't know.
Yeah,
A lot
I
of
mean,
they even explained somewhere earlier in this, they're like, a lot of these people who are on this hunt have never gone on a hunt before. Why are they there then?
Yeah,
I
are
don't
they
care if it's a
conscripted?
low-ranking hunt.
are they
Keep
conscripted
that
so
in the
they're
home.
afraid? And then that would be an interesting character to follow as somebody who's conscripted to this and they're like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. And
It'd actually
fucking.
be a really good idea for fucking making a story or something.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
never mind.
Or like one of the let's say for example chick who does the flash cut, her motivation is money. She's like, I'm in this because I want to pay for something. And is it like personal greed? Is like, yeah, I can get rich from this, or is it, I'm taking care of a sick family member or a
Maybe
foster
she wants
child
to.
or something
How
like
about this
that?
for an idea? She wants to get enough money so that she can hire mercenaries, so she can start her own army, so that she can overthrow a kingdom or something.
Like
She wants to, her mud dream.
she's willing to sacrifice all of her friends to do it too. Maybe I don't know, something
Wow,
like that.
that would be really interesting. That would be a fascinating story.
Well, again, there's so many things, and all of that could have been told by now. We're at
Look at
page
yeah,
30.
look at all
Any of
these
that could have been told
ideas.
by now.
It's not even our story, and look at all these ideas we just came up with.
Yeah, exactly. But Tank absolutely should have asked me. And the thing is that
All this time that it would have taken him to draw this, you would think he could have come up with some ideas.
he can, and it's never too late to learn, by the way, for Tank or anyone else. If anyone's listening to this and you've ever thought about making comic, the first thing you got to do is establish a character that you at least get. They don't even have to be likable. The audience can
It's
hate
never
them,
too
but
late to
give them
learn.
a motivation that the audience at least understands. Like they want to become rich because they just want to become. They want to be
If there's
greedy and rich.
if there's a lesson here that I want to make sure that we're teaching people with this review is that it's never too late to learn the lesson to hire a writer for your
Yes.
fucking webcomic so that something interesting will actually happen while you're drawing all these
Yeah,
pictures
this is the
of noseless weeaboos.
yes, this is the fucking no, noseless animal shit. This is the thing that
They're
Japanese
so
artists
animal
have to
shit.
learn them. They're
They're
forced to learn.
weeaboos.
Any Japanese artist that makes any manga, they're forced to learn to at least stick to a formula of this character gets introduced, you have to show the audience what that character wants. That's it. To start.
The
That's how
only
you start.
the only formula here is that it was so obvious as soon as they announced the fucking thing where it's like we're going to go on an extermination hunt. It's like okay, it's going to go wrong. They're like foreshadowing the shit out of it. It's like this should be a low level
It's
hunt
not
that
even
should be easy
foreshadowing.
for
It's
everybody.
yeah, that's it's like the most obvious like fucking
It's insulting. It's audience intelligence insulting.
yeah. It's like they might as well just be putting in the captions. This is gonna go really wrong, but because it's such an obvious setup for a fucking. And if it didn't,
Smiley
it
face,
would be that
sideways
much more
smiley
boring.
face next to it. You might as well if you're going to be fucking make it a comedy in that case.
Yeah,
At least that
exactly.
would be slightly more interesting than this.
But the problem with that is like every anime fan, they would start off as a comedy and then like two chapters in, that would be completely dropped and it would take itself completely seriously.
And it would stop being interesting.
Yeah, exactly. It would become so much more boring, and then you
Also,
just
wait,
have
what
to
was this
coast on the
fucking
art, which
what
is
was
all
this
this can do and all it does.
page 32? She finally beheads the monster, and it was like that was too close. And it's like, didn't your friend just get impaled through the back? She got her uterus shot out against a wall
And you
from
basically
fucking
had
getting stabbed.
your ribs were fucking your ribs and or spine were like compacted by a monster crushing you in its hand.
Not broken, fucking pulverized. Just
Yeah,
fucking.
that's two ribs gone, not broken, gone.
Or what was it in fucking the aviator when he fucking crashes the plane. It's like
His
the
heart was shifted over to the right.
yeah, fucking but I mean the bones were like fucking powderized or whatever the fuck or splintered.
Yeah.
They were broken in so many places. It's just like fuck.
It changed his personality. It was so traumatic.
He had to fuck when he's going to those hearings, the congressional hearings, and he's got to have like one speaker up against an ear because his hearing was permanently damaged in one ear. Man, what a great movie.
Just thinking now, I'm just thinking about the Aviator, and it's like, wow, that's a
Just
fucking interesting good
just
story.
immediately my attention is shifting away from
Yeah.
this comic, which is open in front of me. And I'm just thinking about,
Yeah,
oh
I'm,
yeah,
I'm
you know,
looking at this
honestly,
comic, but my eyes just glazed over to think of fucking that scene where Howard
Leonardo
Hughes is in this hearing
DiCaprio
and shit.
honestly deserved an award for that. And I know this isn't a typical movie for Martin Scorsese. I mean, his usual movies are actually kind of regular, generic, but he's more known for the kind of style he does in Goodfellas
Yeah,
and
you could
Casino.
tell he's really swinging for the fences when he does stuff like Goodfellas and Casino. Um, Those
They're
are great
described
movies.
as like
Those will
having
always
like
be great
MTV
movies.
music video editing, but that sounds more insulting.
Yeah.
The truth is that it's just, it's well edited. It's got some
Well, yeah,
quick cuts.
and
You get to from point to point.
that's that chick that you know, Thelma Schoonmaker, who does the editing with him and has for decades, and I think still does. She worked with him on Wolf of Wall Street, and yeah, there's something musical about the editing in a way because usually it's to songs that fit the tone and the the era of the scene, and then also fit they sort of create a mood and an atmosphere. So in a way it's like this music video kind of editing really fits and is really cool. And in a way it was like, Fellini would do that kind of stuff apparently, where he would film to music, and so that the everyone would sort of have the music, the actors would all have the music in their minds as they were doing the scene. So again, it's fucking. Now here's the thing: they fought that monster, and then they're going through and they're fighting more monsters, and I guess they're still fighting more monsters, and the chick
Yeah,
is
I'm
like,
literally just scrolling and scrolling. It's like, oh, and here's another monster, and
yeah,
here's a
they're
big
just.
monster,
It's like
and
a
fucking.
montage, but it's like also who cares? It's like, okay, they fought all these monsters, and then oh no, the chick who got completely run through is wearing down now. It's like, really? I don't know. I don't really buy it.
She's going to need a rest. She's going to have to take. She's going to have to go to sleep for a night
Yeah,
in order
she'll
to
have to
heal
take a
this up.
nap or something. And again, it's like if that's how it works in your universe, you got to establish that.
Otherwise, yeah, it's like there's no fucking stakes. It's kind of like what was that? Also, the fucking review of Sucker Punch. It's like she gets punched so hard she gets blasted through an entire fucking wall and slams into the ground, and the cement all cracks,
Yeah,
and
and
then
then
she
she
just gets
just
right
gets
back
up
up. It's like,
and it's like, "Oh no, it's going to be one of those fucking movies where nothing matters." It's like, "Yep, pretty much."
and
Yeah.
that's the real problem. It actually makes it a bigger problem for you as a storyteller when you do something like
Yeah.
that, because you ruin the stakes of your own story. So it's like, what is at risk here?
Yeah,
What
now
risk? The
nothing's at
running
risk. As
time?
soon and that happened at the beginning of Sucker Punch, pretty much. Well, not the very beginning, but it was like the first action scene where she goes into fantasy land, where it's like there's no risk, there's no stakes, there's no danger or anything.
I enjoy seeing her suffer, but clearly she
But
isn't.
she wasn't, which is part of why the story sucks. Here's another thing, page 36. The middle panels along the left, again, this is supposed to be read right to left, but if it was, the what a relief word bubble here would be on the right, actually. It should be on the right, but again, you in your
It will be
eyes
on the
try
left.
to read this left to right because you're seeing the visual and then the text.
And if again, in that case, it might as well be written fucking upside down as well.
Yeah, you might as
Just
well.
just straight up, just straight up flip it upside down if
And
you're
that's the
going to
thing.
do
It
that.
goes to show Tank didn't draw the earlier ones sort of mistakenly left to right. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he drew this left to right. Like unironically, he drew the left panels first, then the right panels next. Like that's how he did it. But he's like, but you're supposed to read it right to left, and like this, the story's being told right to left. But he actually started drawing. Like if you're going to draw this right to left, you better be drawing the panels on the right first before the rest. And he probably didn't do that. But also, again, this like you see the image and then the text. The way the eye reads a comic image is you see the image and then you look at the text usually. So if you see an image on the left and you see text on the right, you're going to instinctively read the page itself left to right. So that it's
He
clear
didn't
that
give
Tank
any
still didn't learn his
consideration.
lesson by this
He
point in the
didn't give
comic.
any consideration to that. It's like he didn't even care.
And possibly he either showed this to no one or the people he showed this to didn't tell him, which is
I
really
think that's.
disappointing.
I'm going to take a guess. I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark here. He showed this to maybe one or two weeaboos, and they're like, "This is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I
Yes.
love Monster Hunter," and that was it.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, the art's fantastic. What he needed to do was find somebody who would fucking either trash him, troll him, or at least criticize him a little bit
At
to
the
give him
very
some
least.
pushback to what he was making. But
If anything, we're going easy on
the
him.
thing is that anime fans don't know anyone. When you're an anime fan, you don't know anyone with any taste or anyone who knows what they're doing. You just know people who are like, I like this anime where the girl is like this and you almost sees her panties. You know retards. If you're an anime fan, all your friends are retards with no taste and no intelligence. That's not my opinion. That's a universally proven constant.
And you people have been like this for 20 years too.
Yeah,
So a lot of you are like, I don't like being made fun of for this. Then stop acting like
yeah,
that.
stop being that. Stop being an anime fan. Become a human again.
Become a human again.
This is what we look like. This is what we act like. Um. Anyways, so what also happens is
Why does it say looming on the top of the cave? Page 38 just says looming written on the top of the page. Why does it say that? On the top of the cave ceiling, and they're all looking up at it or something? And
yeah, oh
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah. This
did
doesn't
somebody
really make any
write
sense either.
somebody write that up there?
Yeah, somebody
That
wrote the letters looming, or is that supposed to be a sound effect? But a sound effect of what and where and
It's
why?
not a sound effect of anything that is showing up in the
Yeah,
comic, and then nothing happens after that. So it's
what's
like,
being
okay,
established?
never mind.
Yeah. Anyways, so they team up with the A rank guy, and they go deeper in the cave, even though they should be completely out of their league. So they shouldn't be doing this. And it's like, oh, the wise man of the fucking Menmei mutation source Ariel extermination target. This is the big badass. And so
I'm
the
so
guy
glad I
fucking
know all of so that it perfectly explains
yeah.
everything you need to know
So
now.
still after like 2 pages, he unlocks his Hollow Bankai to attack. Fucking goes super
Is
beast
this the
mode.
guy? I don't even know what this is anymore.
Yeah, there's a guy, the A rank guy, fucking unlocks
Is
his
this a
stuff.
guy though? Because it doesn't look like a guy. It looks
I
like a
think it
girl.
is a guy. I
I
think.
fucking have no
I
idea.
guess
I
I'm not
can't
entirely sure.
tell. It looks like any one of these girls.
And
That's
then,
what happens when you don't add boob armor to
yeah,
your
I guess so.
characters.
But I think it is a guy though. But this
Yeah,
slashes all the monsters
his
apart. But
bloodline.
even though he's an A rank, he can't tell that he didn't kill the boss yet, and then the fucking boss detonates like a explosive thing and blows him up, and oh no. But he protected them, and he's still alive. So it's like again, nobody's dying. So everyone's getting blasted to shit or ripped apart, but they're not dying yet. And it's like okay, and then the cave is
It's
crumbling.
just yeah, it's just so formulaic
Yeah,
that it could have. It's kind of insulting that it's not at least more succinct.
but again, here's all this dialogue and panels and dialogue and panels that's not telling anything about the characters. It's just padding out more of the story. And so I'm scrolling through an entire page, and they're still just running through a collapsing cave still. And then I guess the guy throws them out of the cave so that
Uses
they escape.
his hollow mode, fucking his bloodline technique.
Yeah, which if he could do that, couldn't he jump out of the cave with them too, or something? I don't know. Who cares? But it's like, oh, he died, and then there's just a lot of dialogue that doesn't really matter. And there's, oh, this should
Oh
have been a
boy,
zero casualties event. No
a
shit.
whole bunch more fucking pages of just yammering,
Yeah, just
just
yammering and yammering.
useless. The
They
fucking
point out
character
this
doesn't show
fucking
up.
hair antenna chick is she's her last name is Mortis, and they're like, did you say your name is Mortis? You're a Mortis, and it's like fucking very
Who
Harry Potter,
cares?
where it's like your last name is this. I didn't know you were evil, and it's like, yes, I am evil, but I'm trying to not be evil, and everyone's like, I don't believe you. You're a bad person. And they're like, no, could it be? It's just this fucking cliche dumb shit. And
It's tiresome, especially if you actually like to read regularly. This kind of shit is
yeah,
tiresome.
in a manga, this would have been only 20 pages tops, maybe 10, to be honest. It would have been the first 5 pages, where, again, Because here's the description at the very end. Thank you for reading to the end. Blah, blah, blah. Flash in the Dark is a standalone story in the Risk Hunters universe. That means that all this stuff we just read is just a standalone story. It's not going to be about the characters of the fucking Risk Hunter thing, apparently. So it's just going to jump to some other characters. He said, since I had no deadline to launch this project, I decided to write a longer standalone chapter that would serve as a more exciting first look at Risk Hunters compared to the first true chapter of the story. And it's like,
But I mean, did he ever do any more of his webcomic in general? I remember it had
I
like
don't know.
7 pages and then he quit.
He had about fucking 15 pages then, and he had another 5 to 10 sketched out. And then, yeah, it fizzled out. But the thing is he going to use those, or is he going to redraw those? Because he's rebooting the whole thing. So is he going to just start over? And the cover has Demya and Kay, the main characters, but they're nowhere in here. So is that where the actual first chapter is going to
To
start?
existing fan, the bottom of this page here, to existing fans of my work, consider all concept art and lore I've posted online in the years leading up to this point to be potentially non-canon and open to being retconned. So all those wonderful things about the names of islands and countries that you heard before, none of that mattered now. I hope you didn't get too attached to any of that, because now it doesn't matter
But he
anymore.
probably will use some of that, but I don't know. The thing is,
What's
clearly,
the
what's going to
point?
be what won't be making a return in the reboot is all the fucking straight shotas with cocks as big as their forearms. I guess that's not fucking coming back.
Gouging these women who look very much like boys, flat-chested tomboys, fucking just getting their entire fucking uteri scooped out.
But anyways, yeah, the I don't know
Where's the
where this
papas?
reboot's going,
I don't
but
see any pop. Yeah, I don't see anything, any idea of where this is supposed to be going, and we just read 60
well, yeah,
pages.
and apparently because as he says it's a standalone story, the 60 pages aren't going to amount to anything. All they really did was set up some of the setting, and that's it.
And it's just a ripoff of Monster Hunter.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
ripoff of
Monster Hunter,
Monster
but his
Hunter.
original universe Do Not Steal, and it's going to have his own characters in it, and blah blah blah. And the thing
He
is,
could have actually, he probably could have made this a fucking Monster Hunter fan comic if he wanted to. I don't think he's charging money to read this.
well, here, yeah, he's saying Risk Hunters will be funded via Pixiv Fanbox, which is like the Pixiv version of Patreon. How much money I'm asking or making will not influence whether I want to work on it or not.
Yeah, I
I don't know
know.
if
We
that
already
just
know
means
that.
that he won't want to work on it. I don't know.
It just
Um,
means that no matter how much money he gets, he's not going to make that much more.
but he
I'm
says
surprised he even did 60
yeah,
pages.
he says completed chapters will be released publicly for free, but supporters will get more regular early updates in the form of page batches. Now, here's the thing: is that
As far
if
as I know,
he
he could still do
if he
fucking
sort
Monster
of
Hunter then.
sped through these pages to make them done faster and that kind of thing, I'm fine with that because I don't think the art really suffered.
It didn't, yeah, it didn't make any difference to me reading this.
The problem is not the art because the art's still generally appealing and he has a fucking solid style and he's got some art design and costume and character design as well that is unique enough. The problem
He knows how to do digital art.
yeah, the problem is the writing, as it always is with like a webcomic that has good art.
Most
It,
people who are artists in general who try and make their own storylines. The big
yeah,
problem is the writing.
because writing is a it's like a different half of the brain than art. Drawing is
The
a different half
superior
of the
half.
brain than learning how to write,
The half
with
that
any skill.
does art is a weaker half, a less important half than the writing half.
The inferior half, you could say, the Untermensch
Because
half.
you could just learn techniques for how to draw, and then you fucking apply those techniques. But
Yeah.
writing is so much more open-ended and so much more important. It requires a smarter person,
Yeah, it
smarter breed
requires
of
a
cat.
really it does it's not that intense, but it just requires a focus that you can't get from the art half of your brain.
And you can't be trained. Yeah, you cannot just be trained on how to write. You can't just follow a bunch of guidelines for how to write a story and
Yeah.
then write something that's really, really great to read. You just can't ever do that. You have
Now,
to have a good idea or 3
I have to
first.
say, maybe this will still go somewhere. If you want to donate to Tank's fan box or whatever, feel free.
By,
Follow him.
by all means,
I'm going to
give
follow the
him,
comic. I'll keep up with it. I'll read it. We probably won't be reviewing
assuming
future
it ever,
episodes and that kind of shit.
if it
But
ever updates, we don't know.
yeah,
Will it? Do you
who
think it will
knows?
ever update?
The thing is, we'll review future episodes if there's
It'll
something
actually,
worth saying about it.
he'll actually fucking come up with some ideas. Next fucking issue is one of the female character or one of the male characters is going to jab himself in the ass with a dragon cock so hard that he gives himself both hemorrhoids and an ear infection. How do you even do that?
And AIDS. He gets AIDS from a dragon dildo.
Piss
It's not
AIDS.
even a real
He
thing.
fucking a dragon pisses in his mouth and then he gets dragon AIDS.
Dragon piss AIDS. I mean, how much worse can things get for him? And the answer is none.
It's like a puddle of AIDS.
Anyways, so yeah, I was actually looking to be like, you know what? I want to see if he does anything good here, and I'll compliment it. And I read the whole thing, and it's like, the whole thing is 60 pages of something that didn't need to be 60 pages. In
It's
fact, it really
five.
could have been 5 to 10 pages,
Five
probably.
pages. 5 pages. Yeah, maybe 10.
You know what? You know what he could have started with is start right in the middle of the big monster fight against the boss. That's panel
Yes.
1 of page 1. He could have started there because after all, fucking Skyrim doesn't start you when you're trying to make the run for the border or whatever the fuck.
It doesn't.
starts
It
with
doesn't
on the fucking
fucking.
cart.
Skyrim doesn't have you start by trying to steal a horse.
Yeah, exactly. Skyrim starts with you on the cart to your execution, and you finally wake up.
You finally wake up.
And that's what, again, that's what that at least did better, where it got more to the point, getting right to the actual point of the story, the stuff you're supposed to be learning about the story, instead of people standing around being like, gee, I sure hope we solve this mystery, or whatever the fuck. It just, there's too much thumb twiddling in the story-wise in Risk Hunters. I almost called it Risk Hunter K. Whoops. Anyway, so yeah, that's the new Tank comic. We were thinking for this week we'll like we'll do
We'll
do a Sinfest again, and it's like, no, you know what? We're not going to do Sinfest this week.
To me, there's just nothing really new to cover about Sinfest that we haven't kind of already covered.
We can skim
It'll be
Sinfest.
funny.
We can at least skim Sinfest. But
Yes.
we'll just save it for next time, where we skim like the next 3 Sunday strips, where they will not make any sense because they're all fucking not establishing each other, and usually filled in by the daily strips afterwards.
Now that we're moving on to the good comic, is my fucking voice, now that we've already done like 40 or 50 minutes of a show, has my fucking voice been cutting out? Because you keep cutting out my speakers.
No,
like, I fucking...
You haven't been cutting out for me, actually, so I don't know.
I'm hearing like maybe half of what you say sometimes.
I don't know. It hasn't been cutting out at all for...
And my computer fan has been fucking kind of... It's been making more noise. I think it needs to be opened up and sprayed.
Yeah, maybe you gotta blow.
We don't have the time. I gotta get.
Anyways,
to the dishes.
for the this week's good comic of the week is actually.
I'm sure they'll be very happy. I'm sure they will be very happy to see it. With this review.
That's the thing, is that fucking, I'm like, hey, good comic of the week, Awkward Zombie. I'm sure the fucking chick who does this would be horrified and disgusted to see us complimenting her comic, but
brashing Tank, just a guy who is so Swedish that he is jamming dragon dildos up his... That was also the other thing, though. If we're going to go back to Tank,
we're going... Okay. We have to go back to Tank already.
How many stanks is a giga stank? That sounds like a lot.
That was so traumatic to him, it got him to re-delete a fucking account that he allegedly got banned from already.
It was a new account, and we fucking got it deleted.
Yeah, he allegedly got banned, and his Tumblr account got deleted. So he made another one called Giga Tank, and you said, how many stanks is a Giga Stank? Like 1 billion? And he was like, yeah, something like that. And a day later, the new account was deleted. It was banned again in giant sneer quotes.
Banned again. He fucking
straight up. The same day he just made another third account.
His fucking entire room must smell like shit constantly.
that's just a huge insult out of nowhere for no reason.
Is it really? For no reason.
Well, I mean,
That's
it's
the
true,
thing,
it's
though, is he was
accurate,
in
but
love
it's
with our
like he
fucking
just
blog.
fucking. It's like saying that I bet he's really stupid. It's like, well,
He was in
fucking,
love with
why are
our
you bringing
fucking
that up?
blog since forever, and then he just turned into like a giant woman.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's yeah. There's a lot of backstory about Tank and his history with us that we're not getting into, but Tank basically like threw a giant bitch fit
he's like a
over us.
jilted girlfriend.
Yeah.
But I mean, we never did anything to him, too. So he's, again, also like a girl. He's got some kind of BPD problem.
Yeah. He wanted to act like he was a master troll to the point where other people he knew, other artist friends he knew, were getting mad at him about it. He's like, you fucking,
But that's a
like,
problem with
sort of
that's a
being a
problem
cunt
with
to
being a
him,
master
too.
troll. That's a
Yeah.
problem with actually being a master troll is first off, there's a big difference between living it and doing it, knowing the path and walking the path.
Yes.
But yeah, he's just like he
But
was
he
just
wasn't
really
funny. Like, he
catty.
wasn't funny or
No,
interesting. He
yeah.
didn't know how to actually get under people's skin. He just wanted to act like us, which, of course, we have not only a long
He had no
history
idea
of, but
how.
even a recent history of people wanting to act like us.
He had no idea how to do that though.
Yeah,
And first off,
he
he's a
thought he
child.
did. He thought he knew how to do that because he read 4chan. He's like, I read 4chan. I control too, just
He
like
was
you
like
guys.
17 years old, and he was already, of course, because he's Swedish, he's drawing gay porn. But he's like fucking, he fell in love with our blog, and then like after the breakup, he's like, oh yeah, I used to be a big alt-righter. I used to be
He no,
kind
he
of
said I
almost
used
a
to be really
neo-Nazi.
anti SJW, and it's like, no, you weren't. You were a fucking complete faggot from the beginning
You're
before we met
from
you, and then you just
Sweden,
wanted to be like us.
and I know he still wants to be like us,
And we thought
but
that was
he
a joke
also
too. I
fucking
like for a while I thought it was a joke that he was in love with us, and then I realized it wasn't a joke. He was actually unironically in homosexual romantic love with us. And we were like, ew.
ew,
Ew.
that's wrong.
Yeah, it's wrong of you
Being
to do that. Why are
you're
you doing that?
gay? Ew.
And again, there's other
Ew.
people today, Junior, who are like that. But some of them are famous in scare quotes, fucking comic artists as well. It's usually artists, interestingly enough, who weirdly fall in love with us, but in a way where they don't want to admit it. But in private, they're like other people they know are like, yeah, this guy's completely obsessed with you.
Or
Tank was one of the first, and
they
Ethan
give
Van Sciver's
themselves
the most
away,
recent.
like they start revealing themselves in little ways, like
Yeah,
the way that they just copy specific phrases
yeah,
that
like
we say,
specific
talk
phrases
about the
that
same
we had
things we talk
invented and
about.
create, like our memes, basically. And all of a sudden, you're hearing these memes that we created come out of these people who claim to hate us or something weird. Or usually they claim to hate us, but they're again, people who know them are like, yeah, this guy's constantly talking about you guys. It's like, wow, that's weird.
To the point where I'm no longer surprised to find it out. In fact, I just automatically start assuming it as soon as I hear somebody
And
being
then we
like,
get
"Oh, you
proven
guys
right.
are motherfucking,"
We
and
assume
then
it.
they start
We
repeating
are
us.
prejudiced in assuming it, and you know what happens when we assume something? We're right. When other
You
people
know
assume
what?
things, they're not.
When other people assume things, they make an ass of themselves. When we assume things, we turn out to be justified in the end.
We're objectively correct, proven. In the face of everyone not wanting us to be right, we're not only right. Everyone wants us to be wrong, and they all usually end up embarrassing and disgracing themselves
We end up
in the
shoving our
process.
justification up their ass.
Yeah, and doing
Well,
retarded shit like
fucking,
doxing themselves. Like that umbrella guy doxed himself like a complete retard, trying to trigger and own the libs, and to the point where he started faking like death threats against himself to try to justify it and turn to fish for pity and that kind of shit. It's like, wow, that's really embarrassing.
like the justice system is going to it's going to sit its ass on their head.
Yeah, exactly. And there should be an echo over that, but whatever.
If only we could do the wonderful echo effects from the violence channel Fox
The
News
fucking
reports.
Fox News violence channel. Yeah, there's the violence channel, all that, but then the news was still just Fox News, which is great. And that's one of the
Part of
upsides of the
just
dystopian future,
part
at least.
of the Violence Channel.
Our Loft of Violence channel. But anyways, so yeah, again, wrapping up with Tank. There's always so much more we could even say about Tank himself, but as far as the comic goes, it's a mess. Still, it functions enough that I'm sure it'll get followers, and if people want to follow it and give money to him, that's completely fine. There are worse people you could give your money to. At least, he may be stupid and incompetent and an abject weeb, but at least he's not a grifter. He is going to most likely deliver the comic. At least he better. But he may feel trapped by it because he clearly still doesn't really know what he's doing that much.
Oh, we're talking. So we're going to talk about a good webcomic, hopefully.
Yeah, again, going to Awkward Zombie. This is not even the most recent page, but
Awkward Zombie's been around for a while.
yeah, that's one thing is
we used to
that
bring it up.
like this chick has been doing this for 10 years, over 10 years probably, and she's pretty much still on point where it's a setup. There's a fucking like, say you don't know what this comic.
A lot of video games.
They're all about video games. Say
Yeah.
you don't know what the video game in this one is even supposed to be. There is still a joke where you understand. There's a fucking setup. There's a
Although
punchline.
I would probably still, if there's one thing that I would say is that it's been occasionally where I didn't recognize the game.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know what the context of these characters. Oh, these characters from the Fire Emblem games. Oh, they're so wacky, and it's like I don't know what this is about.
Yeah, I've noticed a few pages sometimes. Every once in a while, there will be an
But I mean,
awkward
again,
zombie page where
it's
the
been
joke
like
is about the game. So if you don't know what the game is, you don't know what the joke is.
this one, the one that you linked me to, I think kind of doesn't need the context of
No,
the
yeah,
video
this
game.
does not. I kind of guessed is this Control because I think there's some recent shit about it, and it's like wasn't this by the guys who did Max Payne or something?
Yeah, Remedy.
Yeah,
Remedy made this. I kind of want to play this, but I also watched a lot of like video reviews, and
hmm
it's like, okay, that sounds nice, but eh.
like I would
Uh,
almost just rather play Max Payne again, but again,
yes,
it's interesting. This chick character, she can float, and she's like, "Oh, I need backup," and the guy's like, "Are you sure you need my help?" And it's like, I'm just a normal person. You have telekinesis. You're immune to the hiss, and you can fly. She's like, "Don't sell yourself short.
he's
You're doing
levitating.
great."
She's literally levitating
Yeah.
off the
Yes.
ground.
Again, just right here. It's if you have no idea that this is about a game, if you have no idea what the game is, you still get the idea of the joke. The joke communicates perfectly. It's a good comic. It's a well executed fucking comic. Just like 3 panels. It doesn't go on for 5 panels or 8
Mm,
or any of that shit.
or 30
Yeah,
panels,
it
fucking
understands
15 panels of shit.
the economics of storytelling, and
That's how a lot
especially a
of
joke. Like if you're telling a joke, you have to know the economy
yeah,
of doing a comic so much
a lot
more
of
than
gag a
any
day
other thing.
strips tend to fucking get that right. At least it's a good way probably to learn how to be economic in your storytelling
Yeah,
is doing gag a day strips.
exactly. You learn how to tell stuff shorter, more to the point. Because if you're doing a serious story, you feel like you could just take all the time in the world. But the thing is, you don't need to, and your comic really slogs, especially usually around the
Yeah.
middle parts where you're trying to just connect it to an action
Or in the
scene
case
when
of
you could
fucking
theoretically just start at the action scene.
in the case of Risk Hunter, it's fucking it suffers right at the beginning.
Yeah. So, anyways,
But I do especially love this the third panel here. This one was an especially good punchline. It's just she's flying above all the monsters.
yeah, that are chasing the guy and just using him as a fucking decoy or whatever.
It's a he's just an utter meat shield.
If you scroll down, it does say here, control.
Yeah,
There's a
it
tag, I
explains the
think.
game. It actually lists the name of the game. I'm sure there were some complaints about like what the hell game is this?
Yeah.
So she's actually putting in the name of the game
Yeah, so
here.
Awkward Zombie's not perfect, but it has a very good track record of
Now,
good strips and funny
if you
stuff.
click on this, it actually will bring up like tags for the comics
Mm.
that the fucking include the game. So if you click on the fucking name of the game
Oh yeah.
in the fucking info thing, there's 5 comics about Control.
Hmm.
And it's like, let's see, the oldest
Oh
one's
yeah, I saw
from
this other one too.
21 11 21.
Yeah, this one. I want to discuss the budget analysis for the oldest house repair work that will be necessary to reverse the structural damage you've been causing. And it's
Oh,
just
and
like
it's
her
read
duct taping all the fucking concrete patches back together.
fucking read left to right too.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? It just makes a nice logical sense in that way. Anyways, I think that's a good place to wrap up for this week. As usual, we do
That's another genius video
a
by us.
wonderful, yeah, classic. Just another classic, delightful video where we went on way longer, but that's because we had more to say, and that I'm glad for
We
that. Every
actually
time we fucking do something, it's like, hey, at
we
least we got
still
more to
wasted less
say.
time. We still have wasted less time
Yes,
than anyone would have had to
you know
take in
you're
order to
right.
actually read the fucking comic,
Yeah.
Risk Hunter.
So, anyways, spread the word to the inferior normie cattle that you consort with. That Shitty
Normie
Webcomics is back,
Prig
reviewing
Metal.
webcomics, suggesting webcomics even, and
Your worst
doing
nightmare.
critical analysis the way nobody else even seems capable of. We go into as much depth as we need to, which I really thought like this one would be like 10, 20 minutes, but we went into so much detail about really important shit about fucking making comics. It's incredibly vital information. Some of it's stuff that you shouldn't need to be told. But when you aren't told or when you don't know this, you really do need to be told. If you're going to be making comics, you got to have some understanding of at least of criticism of other people's comics because then it will help teach you
Yeah, look at all the
how
stuff
to
we
do it.
added. Just we reviewed the comic, we did analysis. We also talked about The Aviator, and then
The
we reviewed a
the
comic we
classic
like.
movie. If you
The
haven't seen The Aviator,
classic
there's a recommendation right there. Awkward Zombie
movie.
for comics and The Aviator for movies.
Do you like shitty webcomics? Well, you should see The Aviator.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's a good movie. Anyways, so yeah, we're going into depth and covering the comics. Next week we'll probably go back to some Sinfest, but we got a lot of other stuff we can cover for the weeks ahead. Again, we're doing weekly free videos, but these videos are helped to exist. The reason why we do these free weekly videos is because we're getting backing on our Subscribe Star, which our
We're so
Subscribe
great.
Star also has access to a bunch of the secret
We're
videos.
so gracious. We're so
Oh,
charitable. You fucking ingrates
you
should be paying
fucking
us $80 for
ungrateful
a
pieces
review.
of shit. But yeah, every week a new Shitty Webcomics Weekly, sometime in the week, even if it's very late. It's either early or late. I don't know. I don't really care. But yeah, these are for free, and then there's lots and lots of extra videos hidden that you cannot see at all unless you go to our Subscribe Star and just donate $1 or $5. The $1 tier is getting a bunch of videos posted to it, but the $5 tier has more gooder videos. So check out to and donate to our Subscribe Star to get all the access and all the bonus stuff. And then you can suggest a webcomic for us to talk about on our Curious Cat, if we need to look up more comics to talk about, like uncomment, share, reshare, unshare, resubscribe, unhit the re bell, and should have listened to Shitty Webcomics.